Hello everyone, I'm Sebastian Y and this is Principles of Macro. In this video I'm going to go through an example of real exchange rates and purchasing power parity. This exercise is based on The Economist magazine's Big Mac Index. The Big Mac Index compares the price of a Big Mac across different countries as a fun way to analyze whether purchasing power parity is actually true in real life. This particular data comes from the July 2024 release of the Big Mac Index. First of all, we're going to need to remember that the price of a Big Mac in the United States is $5.69. Since we're going to compare the price of Big Macs in different countries to the United States, we're going to need to use that number. In Part A, we're told that a price of a Big Mac in Taiwan is 75 Taiwan dollars, and the nominal exchange rate is 33 Taiwan dollars per US dollar. So we're going to figure out the real exchange rate here. To do that, we're going to need to use our main equation for this topic, which is real exchange rate equals nominal exchange rate times P, the price level in this country, divided by P star, the price level in the other country. Now we're going to plug everything in. We know that the nominal exchange rate is 33 Taiwan dollars per US dollar. The US price is $5.69 in US dollars per US Big Mac. The price in Taiwan is 75 Taiwan dollars per Taiwan Big Mac. Notice that in this equation, we've got US dollars in the bottom of a fraction, US dollars on top of a fraction. That's going to cancel. We've got Taiwan dollars up top, Taiwan dollars on bottom. That's all going to cancel. In the real exchange rate, there won't be any currencies left. Now we need to do the math. On top, we have 33 times 569, and then we have to divide that by 75, and that gives us 2.50 Taiwanese Big Macs per US Big Mac. Now, to answer the question that's asked, does purchasing power parity hold here? The answer is no. The theory of purchasing power parity tells us that the real exchange rate should always be 1. Once we take into account the different currencies, we could swap one Taiwanese Big Mac for one American Big Mac, but that is definitely not true. We can buy 2.5 Taiwanese Big Macs for the price of one US Big Mac. And so what this tells us is that purchasing power parity does not hold. Now going down to the next question. The price of a Big Mac in Switzerland is 7.1 francs. If purchasing power parity holds, what would we expect the exchange rate of francs to US dollars to be? Since it says purchasing power parity holds, the real exchange rate is going to be 1 Swiss Big Mac per US Big Mac. That's going to be equal to, using our equation, the nominal exchange rate, which is actually what we're trying to solve for, so we're just going to put E, times the domestic price of $5.69 US dollars per US Big Mac, which is 7.1 Swiss francs, using the code CHF per Swiss Big Mac. What we see here is we've got Swiss Big Macs on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Same thing with US Big Macs. That's all going to cancel. Remember, we're solving for the nominal exchange rate, which should be currency to currency. So all of the Big Macs need to cancel out here. Now we need to solve for E. I'm going to multiply both sides by 7.1 Swiss francs and divide by 5.69 US dollars, and that's going to give me a nominal exchange rate of 7.1 Swiss francs divided by $5.69 US dollars. Putting that in my calculator, that gives me 1.25 Swiss francs per US dollar. Now, is that the actual real-life exchange rate of francs to dollars? No, but this is what it would be if purchasing power parity were true. Now, going all the way down here to the last part, the exchange rate of Indonesian rupiahs to US dollars is 16,260 rupiahs per US dollar. If purchasing power parity holds, what would we expect the price of a Big Mac in Indonesia to be? We're going to use our equation again. Purchasing power parity, we're assuming does hold, so we have real exchange rate of 1 Indonesian Big Mac per US Big Mac equals our nominal exchange rate of 16,260 Indonesian rupiahs per US dollar, times our US price at still 569 US dollars per US Big Mac. And then on bottom, we have what we're trying to solve for here, which is the Indonesian price of a Big Mac, which we'll just put as P star. Let's do some canceling. We've got a USD on bottom, a USD on top. We've got a Big Mac on the bottom of a fraction on the right-hand side and on the left-hand side, so those are all going to cancel. And since we are solving for the Indonesian price of a Big Mac, the only units that should be left are the Indonesian rupiah and the Indonesian Big Mac, which is exactly what we have. And so now to figure this out, we're going to have to do the math, multiply 16,260 times $5.69. That's going to give us 92,519.4 Indonesian rupiahs per Indonesian Big Mac. And that's all there is to it. It's all about understanding how to use this equation and also be careful about the units that are involved. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks for watching.